Hard-Headed Fool is the first album I put out after I left my teaching career. So for the first time in my life, I was a full-time musician. You know, over the course of 2006, you know, I often woke up just amazed, like, wow, I'm waking up today and all I have to do is write songs or play a show, and that was a great feeling. A lot of fans noticed on Hard-Headed Fool that there was a lot more instrumentation. There's only 2 tracks that are just me and the guitar. But because I had the time and the resources, I was able to really go in and try to add as much drama to the song as I felt like I could. A simple guitar and vocal was always the starting point. Lee always says, if you can't hear just an acoustic and vocal of the song and have it move you, then the song's not worth doing anything else to. So we would always start with this and then go from there and trying to add whatever color and drama and dynamics. And sometimes it would take us very far away, so we'd start here, end up here.
I've seen many times before, and after all these years I learned what those branches were for. They used to hang on here.
I remember sitting here for hours doing all the percussion parts, like playing spoons, doing hand claps and foot stomps, playing the electric guitar, just sort of stacking stuff until I felt like it was done. Either that or until we just got tired of hanging around. We gotta go home.
Then we run out of cracks.
Rest in peace. We got enough trouble here without you holding me. We buried that cross. No, I'm trying to...
I sang all the harmony parts on that. It took forever. It took forever. I'm not a very good harmony singer, so Lee would have to counsel me as I went along. I would have been better off just hiring a really good harmony singer to come in here, but again, I'm stubborn. Most of my earlier content, especially the more popular stuff like 21 and If I Could Do It Again and Drinking Again, I wrote before I had kids. I wasn't a parent, so I never even really considered the idea that maybe one day my kids would listen to that content. When I was writing this stuff for Hard-Headed Fool, I was a parent, and that really changed my perspective. I thought twice about putting out something negative without turning it into something positive. I think that's really evident in the title track, Hard-Headed Fool. I think that was my way of wrestling with that issue.
Got 2 crazy kids, and I hope they'll do what I say and not what I did.
One of my favorite songs on the record is Together, which is simply about my family. You know, I can't help but listen to the song and think about my grandfather who passed away at the beginning of this year. But it's nice to know that, you know, the people I love are so sort of memorialized in a song like that. You know, it mentions my mother who died when I was really young. I was able to have my cousin McCall come in and sing background vocal on the song. So that made it feel like a reunion of sorts.
Together, we'd all enjoy the view, take in the laughter, let it heal our blues. I was barely 18, but even then
One of the most powerful songs on the record is the song Stand Our Ground. I wrote the song because I had a close friend of mine who was in the Army and was serving in Iraq at the time, and I guess he was on my mind a lot. I was often wondering, you know, what he was doing, what he must be thinking. I ended up writing the song by just imagining that I was a deceased soldier who was writing a letter back home.
Don't let a day go by without a peaceful prayer for my brothers and my sisters still fighting over there. Oh, they stand their ground, they stand for something.
I get a lot of requests to play that song at the shows, and I very seldom do, just because it's so heavy. It's hard to recover. You know, the times when I've played it, I don't ever know what to play after it. It's such a heavy song. So I'm happy that people are able to use it in their services or in their tributes. You know, that certainly makes me feel really good, and I think validates the song.
Take my stripes and take my medals. Take my cross and
the making of the record was about my being stubborn. I knew that I had the option of going to Nashville and finding a producer, of using session players and taking a lot of shortcuts that would have made life a lot easier for me back then. You know, I was just stubborn. I didn't want to do that, and mainly it was out of my fear of sounding like everything else. I just didn't want to sound generic. You know, even if it was wrong, I wanted it to sound like me. You know, if there were going to be mistakes made, at least they would be my mistakes, and I could own them. In retrospect, I can't help but wonder, you know, how my career may have turned out differently if I would have been willing to change the way I was going about making the music. Maybe I would be a huge superstar now. I'll never know. But ultimately, I know that, you know, those choices made me who I am, and they make my music what it is, and they've allowed me to really develop as an artist and find my own voice.
Yeah, what goes around comes around, boys.